And we're going to be just chatting to Kelly a little bit about her experiences of being a new mom in a foreign country.
I think that's probably the number one challenge about being an expat and living abroad is just that immediate family. Because we're so close, we used to see each other all the time. And I think the biggest thing about Dubai, because majority of us are expats, there is a sense of let's build a community, let's try and build a family, because I think it can be quite isolating if you just have a newborn, you don't know anyone.
And I think that's often what people don't realize is you move to a new country, and a lot of what you need to do is invest in the relationships for the times that you need it, not only when you need it.
What sort of impact are you finding that this is having on new moms?
There's no longer this idea of the whole family remains in the city or town that you were born in. Talk about this all the time, the idea of the village. That idea of village looks very different. It's no longer what it looked like 20, 30, 40 years ago. Major things, we talk about immigration as one of the most significant life events that can happen.
Hi everyone, and welcome back to Let's Talk Baby. And we've been doing a wonderful weaning series. And today we are so lucky because we haven't had Jenny around for a while. So we've got our third co-host back. Hi Jenny, so nice to have you back.
It's so lovely to be back. Thank you for having me.
And hi Sammy, lovely to see you again.
Hi, Kath.
And today we've got a very exciting podcast because we've got a special guest who's going to be joining us all the way from Dubai. And her name is Kelly, and we are so grateful to have her. And we're going to be just chatting to Kelly a little bit about her experiences of being a new mom in a foreign country. And I know that we do have some listeners that live outside of South Africa, and I'm sure will resonate with some of Kelly's experiences. So we're very grateful to have her here and joining us this morning. Hi, Kelly.
Hi everyone. Thanks for having me.
So lovely to have you. And so let's just start right off the bat. Firstly, where are you? Where are you living at the moment?
Yes, so I'm based in Dubai in the UAE. I'm originally from Nelspruit in Mpumalanga. I was born and raised. Sammy is my older sister, so we were brought up there. I think we had a really lovely upbringing. And I was always exposed to international countries, to traveling, modeling, dancing. And when I met my husband and he had the opportunity through work to move to Dubai, I said, let's do it. Let's take the opportunity, try something new. And now we are here.
Wonderful. So when you went to Dubai, you were obviously married, but you didn't have any children at that point. Is that correct?
No, I was actually about 5-6 months pregnant. So I was, it was a big step for us. But I said, you know what, let's just go. We want to take the opportunity. It's here now. If we wait to have the baby, you're still going to wait probably another year or two and then move. So I said, let's just do it and take a leap. And it was a great leap.
Wow, amazing. And so when you arrived there, obviously, having already been pregnant, how did you navigate trying to figure out how to get medical assistance? I mean, that would be the first thing in my mind is like, what do you do around that? And how did you find that, navigating that system when you arrived?
Yes, of course. That was obviously our biggest concern at the time. And fortunately, we were lucky enough to know quite a few people here. I think that's the biggest thing when moving to a foreign country. If you do it completely alone, I think it can be quite a challenge. But if you have family, friends, or people that you can get advice from, help. So my late cousin's wife actually lives here. She's been here for about 15 years. So she's really experienced. And she said, I must definitely go to her gynecologist. She was amazing. She had 2 girls with her. She got me in there, and she was an absolutely amazing doctor. Really fortunate that I had a good experience. I'm staying with her for the second baby. But I do know, speaking to some moms, they've been through a few doctors here because they don't have that point of reference they don't have someone that they've known for years, like in their home country.
It was awesome that you managed to find the right gynae and having a referral, like you say. And I even think, even locally for us in South Africa, and in your home country, you also need referrals if you are starting a new journey. So that's really helpful, so that you don't have to go through a whole lot of different doctors. But I'm interested to find out how you navigated the language challenge and how did that work with regards to booking appointments and then actually conversing with your doctor?
Yes. Well, UAE and especially Dubai is majority expats. It's multicultural, so everyone speaks English. It's very like an English-led country, which is really beneficial. It worked perfectly for us. I must admit that the transition to moving here was quite smooth because we didn't have a really serious language barrier. My doctor is British. A lot of the healthcare professionals are from the UK. I actually landed up in Mediclinic Hospital here, which is South African hospital. So the head nurse was from South Africa, which was really nice. There was lovely nurses from the Philippines that could all speak English. So to be honest, I haven't really struggled with a language barrier, like in all terms of pregnancy, giving birth, now having the baby. Everything's been in English. So I think that's been quite smooth, luckily for us. Yeah.
Okay. And so also, for example, just like medications and scripts and things like that at pharmacy, has that also been easy to navigate?
Yes, very easy. Like I said, it's like all in English because there's so many cultures, so many languages, people from all around the world. I think that it's just easier so that it's all English and very westernized, very smooth and easy to transition.
Okay. So if you had to look at your expectations, falling pregnant, obviously then you were still in South Africa, the move wasn't on the cards, then suddenly the move became a reality, you moved across. If you look at your expectations of your first pregnancy with your little one and then your birth in a foreign country, how do you feel your expectations and the outcome kind of paired up?
To be honest, I think the reality actually exceeded all of my expectations. I just came in, just with reference to what I've experienced in South Africa. Like I said, I was in a South African hospital, but the hospital honestly blew me away. I thought I was in a hotel. I didn't want to check out. They were just so lovely, so friendly. They gave us a little cake that said it's a boy when the baby was born. We got high tea. It was honestly such a spoil. I'm actually looking forward to giving birth again just to go through that experience. So it just honestly exceeded my expectations.
Okay. All right. Well, that's awesome. And I think now just to talk of the reality, you're very close. I mean, we know Sammy well, and I've got to know you, and I know that you're a very close family. You're very close to your parents. You're very close to your sister. That to me, I could imagine could have been a bit of a challenge with how did you feel from a support point of view, also not having them right there, kind of in the moment with you, or along the moment. So in your pregnancy moments, how did you navigate that?
Yes, I think that's probably the number one challenge about being an expat and living abroad is just that immediate family. Because we're so close, we used to see each other all the time. And sometimes, especially when you have a baby and you in this new country, you just say, oh, I just want my mom, or I just want my sister, or if you have to go to an appointment, you just want to be able to call them and say, please come with me. Or if you have a meeting, please just come over and look after the baby. So that probably was the biggest challenge for me. And for the first year and a half, I was working from home, staying at home, exclusively breastfeeding. So I didn't have a nanny or a helper or anything like that. Oh. So I do wish my mom or sister was here permanently, but I'm very fortunate that they did visit often. My mom was here for the first 3 weeks when my baby was born, and I traveled back to South Africa. And I think the biggest thing about Dubai, because majority of us are expats, there is a sense of let's build a community, let's try and build a family. And there's so many like events, and that's what I started doing when I arrived from when I was pregnant. I started going to all of these mom to be events, any meetups, joined groups, just to meet people, make friends, because I think it can be quite isolating if you just have a newborn, you don't know anyone, you're staying at home. So I think just diving in and trying to get involved with as much as I could really, really helped with that, not having close family with you.
Okay, so just that like making support around you and just kind of pressing in, showing up, and just
trying to build a community.
Yeah. And just Sammy, being the sister, like in South Africa with your sister having the first baby in the family, and how was that for you, not being able to just literally pop over and just be there for those appointments or those moments?
Yeah, I mean, it's difficult when there is such a distance. There was already a little bit of Kelly being in Joburg and me being in Cape Town, but obviously that's like a 2-hour flight away. I think that, and I think Kelly can agree, is the one thing about Dubai is there's a 2-hour time difference. So you're not on the sort of opposite ends of the world where you're trying to coordinate. It's morning here and it's evening there. So I think it's the beauty and a curse of today is technology and being able to call in. And I mean, it's not the same as being there in person, but you do feel a sense of at least being part of it. And I remember when my little nephew Leo was born, we were on a video call, and even though it wasn't the same as being there in person, at least we could still feel a little bit, part of it. But like Kelly says, I think you do miss that popping in and, please come over and help me while I just go shower. And I see, friends that have got their siblings in the same, town, and how special that is. So I think that is something that I wish we had, now that I have Kyla, and we're fortunate that the little ones have got such a wonderful relationship that it would be so great if we just lived down the road from one another, or even half an hour away. So it is hard not to actually be there in person.
Yeah, and I think it's a reality for a lot of families around the world. Just kind of our families are dispersed. And Jenny, just to weigh in from your side, we finding that it's a global world now, and people are moving, and there's not like in the past where the families would kind of stay in the same city, the same town, and everyone around. People are traveling, people are living in other parts of the world, and families are all over the world, not necessarily just in 2 countries, but maybe in like 3 or 4 countries. What sort of impact are you finding that this is having on new moms and family kind of dynamics in general?
Yeah, it's a great question, Kath. I think, we're seeing it not even just on an international level and, people emigrating and moving different countries. I think we see it even locally, that there's no longer this idea of the whole family remains in the city or town that you were born in and grew up in. I think there's so much disbursement of people and where they go and where they sort of settle. And so I think, like anything, there's things that, add value and contribute, and it's such a positive thing, but then also aspects that make it more tricky. And I think what we often forget is that we apply the same principles and expectations from the past to a very evolved system. And I think that's where sometimes we let new moms down, is that we assuming the same things remain in place, but actually it's a very different setup and different situation. And so, for example, we talk about this all the time, the idea of the village, and Kelly, you've just, spoken about it, having your people around you. But we now need to realize that idea of village looks very different. It's no longer what it looked like 20, 30, 40 years ago. And something, I say often in South Africa, part of our village, a fundamental part of our village here, is often the nanny that is part of the home, who acts actually as the third parent. And we have this very unique situation in South Africa where we have sometimes live-in nannies that walk years of journey with a family. Sometimes we have nannies who raised the mom and now are raising the children. And it's, 20, 30 years in the making. That is an attachment figure for the child. That's not simply a care worker or an additional caregiver. And so I think we need to see how the idea of the village is evolving and access different aspects of village. So I think what we're seeing with a lot of the younger generation is that friends are actually stepping in and forming the roles and functions of what maybe in years gone by siblings or even parents might have done. And so, we know that while relationships are able to sustain long distance and good, solid relationships, and it's clearly evident with the two of you as well, and the help of technology. But we also know for new moms, there's something about needing accessibility to resources and support around them. And I think there's potential for it to be such a tricky time in a new country. And Kelly, I think you did so well to action building your own support networks before your child came. And I think that's often what people don't realize as you move to a new country. And a lot of what you need to do is invest in the relationships and the support around you for the times that you need it, not only when you need it. So it really is almost a preventive thing, which I think you did so well, that you could recognize that before this baby comes, I need to have my people. I need to know who I can turn to. I need to be able to go and sit with another mom who can relate and resonate, and we can just sit and be in the struggle of whatever it is, colic babies or sleepless nights and all those things. So there is something about needing to have people close by that I think is really important, and that people who are living abroad need to remember that while that support across distance is incredible, we still need to have accessible support, and that might be in a midwife or in a nursing sister or in a group of friends that you action and seek out, and these workshops and things that you've accessed. So we've got to really be intentional about how we create a support network.
Yeah, that's so helpful. And I think, Kelly, you really have been a wonderful example of that. And I think for moms that don't press in, it will make it much harder. And I also love, Jenny, what you said about doing it before you need it, because sometimes in that moment you actually don't have the capacity to suddenly then create this network, and then that's when you actually need that those people around you and just that support around you.
And
Kelly,
I think
if you have, sorry,
I think just to touch on there, like it's even the simple things, like when you least expect it. And I know, like, Kelly's two really good mom friends that they all have their little ones at the similar ages, so they've gone through all those milestones together. They met in a Pilates class, something as simple as that. And so it's I think you don't have to go to these massive events. It's the simple things. It's those simple, like, mom meetups or going to the park. And Kelly can also touch on the environments in Dubai that are so conducive to mommies and mommy meetups. They put a lot of things in place for the little ones there. And I think those are amazing places to be able to meet other mommies and to connect.
And just out of interest, Kelly, we've been speaking lots around the moms and, our needs and meeting there. But your husband obviously was also a new dad and in a foreign country.
Yeah.
And I know you guys have a great relationship and that. But what sort of support is there for dads, or was that? Did you have antenatal classes like we have here? Did you go to those? I know a lot of dads meet up with other dads at our antenatal classes.
Yeah, well, I think that's also a very important thing. Being an expat and a new mom is just to have such a strong relationship with your partner, and for your partner to be so supportive of you. But we also have to understand that it's new for him as well, and there's lots of pressure with work and becoming a new father. And yes, we did an antenatal class. It was really funny. We took videos of him, like, washing the baby and learning all the tricks. And my mom also helped us a lot. Those first 3 weeks, we tried to soak up as much as we could. He was asking asking questions. Like I was asking questions. So that was a really good support for him to feel confident for after she left, at least, okay, we've had a bit of help with the practical side of things. He's also got some family friends here that are parents that have kids that he's asked advice about. Like now he's starting to ask them about the schooling side of things. So he is lucky that he does have some other dads. But I think there is a very big focus on the moms, on the mom groups or the mom meetups, or how are the moms, what can we do for the moms? And it's so true, like you said, what is there for the dads? You know, they're so busy, they've got pressure with work. You know, they do need, like either you said those other dad friends or the antenatal classes, things like that. But yeah, he's just actually been such a wonderful support through the first pregnancy, having a baby in a foreign country, and now especially with my second pregnancy, because it's a whole another pregnancy, being pregnant with a toddler. It's totally different from the first one. So he's just been so hands-on, just helping me so much. And yeah, it's really been a big support.
Oh, that's amazing. Yeah. And I just to kind of end now, Jenny, just a last word from you with regards to just families raising children in different places to their natural support system, be it siblings or parents. And we've, heard Kelly's story, and she's got a great mom support and her sister, but obviously they don't live there. So she has had to look elsewhere. Like, what would you say would be really important from both parents' point of view with regards to navigating pregnancy, birth, and early childhood?
Yeah, I mean, I think there's so many different things that need to be established and in place. But what really sort of stands out for me is just the idea of developing insight and awareness into what this transition into this new country actually means and looks like. And I think there's a few things that are happening simultaneously, which compounds the experience for pregnancy or being a new mom or a new dad. And that is, for example, we have a new identity that is being built within a different country. So that is reestablishing your maybe professional reputation, your personal relationships, finding friendships. And then a major one is often there's a massive cultural transition that needs to happen. So when you are now living in a country that has a very different predominant culture to yours, there's huge adaptations that need to be made. And then you're throwing into the mix the new identity, especially if you're a first-time parent, of suddenly now I'm also mom or I'm dad and we're now family. And I think there's something very important about recognizing these different aspects of identity development that are happening quite simultaneously, and just being aware of what big changes those are. And I think, as always, having a bit of grace and compassion for yourself in those moments, that these are major things. We talk about immigration as one of the most significant life events that can happen. It's a huge, huge event. And I think, hearing Kelly's story is amazing and inspiring because she's adapted so well and she's so happy. But I think there are also a lot of people that really struggle, and we need to also be mindful of that a move abroad is tricky and hard and can take a long time before you settle. So yeah, I think one of the key things is really giving yourself a little bit of grace and compassion. And during this time, it is really a significant life event. And I think accessing your support networks is really important. And I think the key takeaway from today's talk is also just not only trying to action those when you feel like things are tough and you are struggling, but rather actually putting those little safety nets in place beforehand.
Yeah, that's so good. Thank you so much, Kelly, for joining us. We're so excited. We're so excited that you're joining us for next week's one as well. So we will definitely see you again. Thanks, Sammy, and thanks, Jenny, always for your inputs and just for being part of this. And we look forward, moms, to seeing you again. And look forward to some more episodes on Let's Talk Baby. And if you've missed our weaning series, please go back and have a look at it. We give you amazing tips on different aspects of weaning. And last week you would have seen the one on cup feeding, on cups and drinking that Sammy did, which was amazing. So please go back and look at that. She's given us some amazing advice and tips. So until we meet again, goodbye, everyone.